The first thing Arif Malik noticed was the silence. Not the ordinary silence of a crowded room pretending to be polite, but the heavy, suffocating kind that forms when people choose not to see someone standing right in front of them. In the bright afternoon sunlight pouring through the grand glass windows of the lakeside charity brunch, laughter echoed, glasses clinked, and cameras flashed. Yet at the far corner of the garden, beneath a white silk canopy, a young girl in a pale blue dress stood completely alone. People glanced at her, smiled awkwardly, and then quickly turned away. She was the billionaire's daughter. She was deaf. And to everyone there, she was invisible. Before we continue, if you believe that kindness can change lives and that everyone deserves a second chance, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Whisper Tales 3. Your support helps stories like this reach more hearts around the world. Arif had not planned to attend such an extravagant event. As a single father raising his 8-year-old son Kabir, his life revolved around school lunches, overdue bills, and double shifts at the local bookstore cafe. But the cafe's owner had donated catering services to the charity brunch, and Arif had volunteered to help serve drinks for extra pay. He felt out of place among the designer suits and diamond necklaces, aware of the fraying cuffs on his shirt. Still, he carried himself with quiet dignity, the kind forged by loss and responsibility. Since his wife Mira had passed away 3 years earlier, he had learned that survival often meant swallowing pride. Across the manicured lawn stood the host of the event, business magnate Viren Sethi, a man whose wealth could build cities. Reporters hovered around him, praising his philanthropy and asking about his latest foundation for children with disabilities. Ironically, just a few steps away from him, his own daughter stood alone. Her name was Anaya. She was about 10, with expressive dark eyes and a posture that suggested she was used to waiting for someone to include her, waiting for someone to understand. Arif noticed how children from affluent families whispered and drifted away from her. Parents gently pulled their kids aside, unsure how to communicate with a deaf child. Some tried a hesitant smile before retreating, embarrassed by their own discomfort. Anaya's hands moved occasionally, forming small gestures in the air, as if she was rehearsing words that no one around her could hear. Something tightened in Arif's chest. He remembered Kabir's first day at a new school after Mira's passing, how the boy had sat alone during lunch because grief had made him quiet and withdrawn. Arif knew the look of isolation too well. It was not loud. It did not cry for attention. It simply existed, unnoticed by those who were too busy. Balancing a tray of sparkling water glasses, Arif walked closer to the canopy. Anaya noticed him approaching and straightened slightly, perhaps expecting another polite nod before he moved on. Instead, Arif gently placed the tray on a nearby table and raised his hands. His fingers began to move in fluid, deliberate motions. He signed a simple greeting. "Good afternoon. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?" Anaya's eyes widened. For a heartbeat, she looked stunned, as if unsure whether she was imagining it. Then her hands responded quickly, almost eagerly. "Yes. The sun feels warm. Thank you for talking to me." The world around them seemed to fade. Arif had learned sign language years ago when Mira volunteered at a community center for children with hearing impairments. He had joined her classes out of curiosity and stayed because he found beauty in a language built from movement and expression. After she died, signing had become a private memory he rarely used. Until now. As they conversed silently, something extraordinary happened. Anaya's reserved posture melted away. She began to smile, wide, genuine, unguarded. She signed about her love for painting, about how loud the world looked but how quiet it felt. Arif responded patiently, asking questions, laughing softly. He told her about Kabir and how he liked building kites. For the first time that afternoon, Anaya looked like a child rather than a symbol of charity. Guests started noticing. Whispers circled the lawn. Cameras turned discreetly toward the unlikely pair, the modest cafe worker and the billionaire's daughter communicating effortlessly in sign language. Viren Sethi himself paused mid-interview, confusion flickering across his face as he observed his daughter animated and alive in a way he had not seen at public events before. The brunch continued, but an invisible shift had occurred. A few brave children edged closer, curious. Arif slowed his gestures, encouraging them to copy simple signs. Anaya guided them, her confidence growing with each shared laugh. What had begun as isolation transformed into inclusion, not through grand speeches or lavish donations, but through understanding. Later, as the afternoon sun softened into golden light, Viren approached Arif. There was humility in his expression, a rare crack in the armor of power. He admitted, through a translator, that despite funding countless programs, he himself had never taken the time to properly learn his daughter's language. Business had always come first. Appearances had mattered more than connection. Watching Arif sign so naturally with Anaya had forced him to confront a painful truth: wealth could buy opportunity, but not intimacy. Arif felt no bitterness, only quiet honesty. He explained that learning sign language had once been an act of love for his late wife. Today, it was simply an act of humanity. Anaya stood between them, looking from her father to Arif, her small hands clasped tightly as if holding on to a fragile new hope. By the end of the event, something even more remarkable happened. Viren announced that his foundation would not only fund schools but also provide free sign language classes for families, starting with himself. The applause that followed was different from the polite clapping earlier. It was warmer. Real. As Arif packed up the empty trays, Anaya ran back to him. She signed thank you, her movements slower this time, deliberate and heartfelt. Arif knelt to her level and signed that she had done nothing wrong, that the world simply needed to learn her language. Walking home that evening under the fading daylight, Arif felt lighter than he had in years. He did not gain wealth or fame that day. He returned to his small apartment and to Kabir, who listened wide-eyed as his father described meeting a girl who painted sunlight. But Arif carried something far more valuable, the reminder that kindness, when expressed in someone else's language, can echo louder than any spoken word. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, share, and leave a comment to let us know. Your engagement helps spread messages of compassion and hope. And before we end, comment the word kindness if you believe small actions can create big change. Because sometimes, the most powerful sound in the world is not heard with the ears at all, it is felt in the heart, in the silent understanding between two souls who choose to see each other when everyone else looks away.